We can't fix what we can't see. And being more aware and more clear of how we are in our relationship to our spouse and ourselves opens the door to more progress. I like that scripture in John where Jesus teaches that you shall know the truth and the truth will set you free. If I could amend that, it would be, you shall know the truth and it will hurt, and then it will set you free.
You're listening to Get Your Marriage On, the fun and spicy podcast bringing you new tools and fresh ideas so that you can be the sexiest couple you know.
Hello, my friends, and welcome to the Get Your Marriage On podcast. I'm so happy you're here. I hope you and your family had a wonderful Christmas. Thank you for listening to this podcast. I really mean it. Thanks to listeners like you, we've hit 500,000 downloads on this podcast, which I find incredible that there's that many people listening to the information that we're sharing here. I try to offer things in a very Christian-friendly format that's kind of on the spicy side when it comes to sex, but also balanced really well with things for the relationship side of things, which I believe is foundational to having a really good sex life. I have some really exciting things coming up for you in 2023. First of all, we have a few openings left for our couples retreat in March of 2023. You'll find the details for that on my website, getyourmarriageon.com. These couples retreats are romantic, they're intense, and this year we're adding some outdoor adventures and excursions like ATV rides in the desert or rappelling, or maybe a cooking demonstration with a chef. So it's going to be a fantastic place for you and your spouse to go for 4 days, just the two of you, to be with other couples learning how to take your marriage to the next level. The other exciting thing we have coming up in 2023 around February is our annual Sextimacy Challenge, where for 14 days, you and your spouse complete little tasks and challenges, earn points, and the more points you earn, the greater chances you have at earning a prize. And some of the prizes we have lined up this year are better than ever. For example, we're giving away airfare for a couple to anywhere in the country. We have lots of things for your bedroom and things to enhance intimacy in your relationship, also available as prizes. You don't want to miss that. Later in 2023, on actually June 9th, which is International Lovemaking Day, because the date is 6/9/2023. Anyway, that's a Friday night. We are putting on a virtual lovemaking retreat. And how that works is for a Friday night, Saturday morning, and a Saturday night, it's a webinar format, which means you're not on camera, but the presenter is, and we'll guide you through some real specific things to make a really sexy and special weekend for you and your spouse. So we got some fun things coming up that you don't want to miss. I want to ask you, have you ever put a lot of effort into a birthday gift for your spouse? I admit I was nervous when I handed my wife this wrapped gift. You see, it was her birthday last year, and it was a landmark year for her. And I wanted to make this birthday really special and meaningful. The thing is, my wife is kind of hard to shop for, so the obvious gift choices are a little harder to do. So she pulls back the wrapping paper and sees this book. But it's not any book. You see, as she leaves through the pages of the book, there's photos of her and her childhood friends and friends from high school and college. And there's a note under each of the photos talking about a favorite memory with my wife and just a note saying how much my wife made an impact on their life. And there's like 40 of these photos that she's going through. And my wife is laughing and she's like crying too as she realizes how loved she is. And that was like the perfect husband moment. Like, yes, I pulled off giving my wife a meaningful gift that meant a lot to her. She put her arms around me and just told me how much that meant to her. Now, rewind about 8 weeks. I know my wife's birthday is coming up and I struggled to know what to get her. I've been meeting with this group of guys for about 2 years now. We meet about every other week, and we're there to encourage each other and to really support each other in our marriages. One of the men in my group suggested this idea of creating a photo book of memories and ideas for my wife's friends. And I love this group because they challenge me to be better. And it's a great source I can go to for ideas and inspiration. Building a strong, intimate, and sexy marriage is very important to me. You could say it's like a core value of mine. It's something I invest a lot of energy and effort into. And thank you for listening to this podcast. You get a benefit from a lot of my research. Now, I listen to a lot of podcasts and books about marriage and intimacy, but nothing has accelerated my personal growth more than receiving coaching and meeting with other like-minded individuals to support me in my desire to build a strong, intimate relationship with my wife. I believe nothing in life will bring you more return on happiness than investing in your most intimate of all relationships. I also believe nothing is going to accelerate your growth in your marriage more than receiving expert coaching and surrounding yourself with like-minded people to help you in your growth. A few weeks ago, I teased that I'm announcing a new program that I'm calling Next Level that is designed to take your marriage to, well, the next level. I believe in coaching. Even professional athletes at the top of their game still have coaches. Today, I want to tell you the science behind why marriage coaching actually really works. And I want to give you a few examples of how that has worked in my life and in the life of those that I coach. And also, I want to give you a special offer today for you to join my Next Level program in 2023. The first reason why coaching really works is because a lot of our growth and development is actually very developmental. And by developmental, I mean you start at one level, you learn more, then you grow to that point, and then you learn a little more, and you grow to that point, and so on. For example, when I wanted to run my first marathon, I had to start by running 1 mile, which was actually really hard for me. I was huffing and puffing, and my legs hurt, but I kept at it. Then I got to the point where I could run 3 miles easily. And then from there, I built up my endurance to where I could run a half a marathon and then eventually a full marathon. In a lot of ways, our brains are developmental too. We start with some ideas and we get used to those and we stretch ourselves to where we can comprehend and understand more things, line upon line and precept upon precept. In episode 101 and 102 of this podcast, I shared the 3 stages of sex. And it's kind of this framework that I really like, where at the early stages, a lot of the way we perceive the world is kind of black and white. And then we move to stage 2, where we care a lot about other people's opinions. And we live our lives in kind of a shoulds and shouldn'ts kind of a framework. And then at stage 3, which is developmental beyond stage 1 and 2, is where we experience true freedom in our intimate relationships because we're more grounded in our own thinking and can also fully support our spouse in their own thinking too. We're less enmeshed emotionally so that we can stand on our own 2 feet and really love somebody fully. Another thing I've learned about myself and my brain is that my brain prefers comfort over happiness sometimes. I know that sounds funny, but my brain is really lazy. I saw this firsthand as a scoutmaster on a campout years ago. In the morning, it was really cold and we're building a fire, and one of the young men was just freezing and chattering, said, "Hey, you're cold. Where's your coat?" He says, "Well, it's in the truck." I said, "How about you go get it?" He says, "Well, I didn't want to get it smoky, so I don't want to wear my coat because it'll get smoke on it and start to stink." I then suggested he could wash his coat when he gets home. He's like, "Yeah, but that's too much work." So it's kind of funny. But we do this in our relationships all the time. Can you think of times when you know a better response would be better, but it's just so much easier to do what you've habitually done all the time? Or is there a conflict that seems to happen over and over and over again, and it's the same pattern repeated, but you're like, I don't want to try anything different because it's going to be the same result. So in a way, you kind of take the lazier option than take steps to improve your relationship. Another reason why coaching helps with our developmental process is so much of our understanding of the world we inherit through our conditioning. This is especially true when it comes to matters of sex and intimacy and the way we deal with conflict. For example, perhaps there's a sex act that your spouse really wants to try and you're reluctant to do, or it might be the other way around in your relationship. That default programming where you view that idea as yuck or you view that idea as yum was probably come from your conditioning. In other words, we operate on autopilot a lot of the time. Coaching helps us analyze the programming in our brain, the scripts that we've written over the years, and determine if they're still serving us or if there's a better way to think of things that can serve us better in our intimate relationships. The second reason why coaching will help you take your intimacy to the next level is through coaching, it will help you see your blind spots. During the golden era of the British Navy, there was a captain of a ship, and at night he sees another ship in the distance coming quite quickly towards him. So he signals to that other ship, "Turn 5 degrees north." And then the other ship responds, "No, you turn 5 degrees north." And the captain gets a little upset and responds, "I am a captain of the Royal Navy. You turn 5 degrees north." And in response, the other ship says, "No, I am also a captain of the Royal Navy, and you better turn 5 degrees north." Now the captain is furious, and he says, "I am the captain of this battleship, and if you don't move 5 degrees north, we will open fire." And then the response comes, "I am a lighthouse, and I suggest you move 5 degrees north." Sometimes our blind spot is this dynamic that we keep participating in our relationship that keeps us stuck. Let me give you an example. In my coaching, this comes up a lot around the topic of initiating, where one spouse feels like he or she is doing all the initiating and wishes the other lower desire spouse to contribute more to the sexual relationship by initiating wholeheartedly more often. The problem is the way the higher desire spouse goes about trying to get the lower desire spouse to initiate more. At first, it might feel like a mosquito where he or she is always hovering and buzzing around, kind of annoying, and all the attempts for affection feel more grabby or like extraction than it feels like giving love. The problem also gets more compounded because the higher desire spouse conflates pursuing with love. So it's like, "Hey, what gives? I'm loving you. Sex is about loving, so I'm trying to do this for you." But the lower desire spouse reads a lot more into this that the higher desire spouse just can't see because he's blind to it. And it's the way they're going about doing the initiating is a turnoff. It's not about loving and affection and wholehearted pursuing. It's like extracting and neediness kind of mixed in there. So through coaching, I help both spouses understand their dynamic and how both spouses play a role in the marriage that they're co-creating. As they see that, I help them fix it. Another reason why coaching helps us is because we can't fix what we can't see. And being more aware and more clear of how we are in our relationship to our spouse and ourselves opens the door to more progress. I like that scripture in John where Jesus teaches that you shall know the truth and the truth will set you free. If I could amend that, it would be you shall know the truth and it will hurt and then it will set you free. Because sometimes being exposed to what it is that's causing the issues in our relationship more isn't always very comfortable. And that's because our brains like comfort. They like to be lazy. But as we invest more in ourselves and become more clear of how we are operating in our relationships, we get to see what steps we need to take to lean in closer to our spouse and have a better intimate relationship with them. In the last few months, I've helped women learn how to have their first orgasm. I've helped another woman learn how her upbringing and her conditioning is affecting the quality of her relationship with her husband, and she is taking active steps forward to choosing a better path for herself in her marriage. I've helped a couple where their desire differences are really causing a lot of contention in their relationship and helping them understand how anxiety is playing a role in both the higher desire and the lower desire spouse and making a wreck of their marriage, and how to fix it. I've helped another couple where he is such a nice guy. He's so kind and considerate of his wife, but because he always defers to her, he's become really unattractive to his wife. They're making clear steps on how to untangle that dynamic. And then there's a newlywed couple that I've absolutely fallen in love with who have had a few challenges, but are really growing and pushing themselves through it and are expanding their intimacy to new levels that they didn't think were possible. The third reason why coaching programs like Next Level really work is because you get to learn from other couples. Over the years, we've learned so many things from other couples and talking openly about what works and doesn't work in marriages. For example, we learned about some really fun date night ideas that we've tried. We've learned about getting away just the two of us and the value of just spending quality time together. Emily and I are grateful for other couples that were willing to courageously share their stories with us so that we can learn from them and make our marriage even better. You see yourself and your own dynamic in other people as you listen to and watch other people being coached. For example, here's what a friend of mine said to me after listening to a coaching session of another couple.
But I started realizing, oh my gosh, that's us. Oh wait, oh my gosh, that's us. But
you got a lot out of it too.
I got a lot out of it. But I guess what I'm saying is that I realized so many points that, just because my situation, our situation, and I was finding myself being real. I mean, my gosh, almost the exact words.
Oh, wow.
And and she would be like, well, we'll see, or, oh, I'm not really feeling it, or we'll just let's wait and see how things develop. I'm thinking, oh my gosh, over and over again, this is us. And that situation is us. And that couple is us. And I'm thinking, okay, well, learn from that. And the whole thing about pursuing, that it's not loving. I mean, pursuing meaning like, yes, you want to be intimate with your wife and you want to, love her, want her to know that. But the whole idea of chasing the bird, and the bird keeps flying away and you keep trying harder, that it's not attractive. And I'm thinking, well, no wonder it's not attractive. That builds anxiety. So on both sides, mine and hers, and on your side. So I'm thinking, okay, comes totally clear. I get it. So I want to thank you for that coaching session, but I needed to hear those things.
Isn't that right? Aren't there amazing things you can learn from other people, or how you can see your own dynamic played out in other people that you may have not seen yourself? This is the power of coaching, my friends. So let me ask you a question. Where are you going to go to get Christian-friendly expert coaching for your marriage? Where are you going to go to learn these skills to help you take your intimacy to the next level? How are you going to develop incrementally and understand how your brain is operating in your relationship and how you can update the programming that isn't working and improve the programming that is working so that you can have a better and sexier and more joyful marriage? Where are you going to go where you can get better help in seeing your own blind spots? And where are you going to go to learn from other couples on how to, share ideas with them and brainstorm and mastermind with others, how you can take your marriage and intimacy to the next level? I invite you to join me in Next Level. That's the name of our program. You'll find all the details on my website at getyourmarriageon.com/nextlevel. You can also find it in the menu. Now, I know what you're thinking. I don't want to join another program because I'm busy. Well, good for you, because this is designed for couples that are busy. My wife and I are busy. We have 6 children we're raising. We're always on the go. So in the Next Level, it comes with a mobile app. And everything that is done, all the videos, all the recordings, are also available in audio format in a private podcast link. So you get a private podcast where you get to listen to everything while on the go, so you never miss a thing. You're also probably thinking, oh, this program is probably really expensive. But let me ask you this. How much does it cost for you to eat out as a family? I bet it costs more than what we're charging for this program. Also, how else are you going to invest your money and time in ways where you're going to get a better return on your happiness than improving your own marriage and having better sex? Come on. It's well worth it. And it's not that expensive. You're also probably thinking, this is really awkward. I mean, it's really awkward for me to share my experience and my questions and my concerns in a group setting. But I want to reassure you that we keep it as anonymous as possible. And you can get coached anonymously. You can ask questions anonymously. You can participate in the community forum groups area as anonymously as you would like. There's also a men's only and women's only group, and we will have men's only and women's only calls. So if there's a specific issue that you want to discuss without necessarily your spouse listening on that call, so you can get coached on your half of it, there's space there in Next Level for that. Speaking of spouses, you're probably thinking, I know this sounds great, Dan, but I don't think my spouse would ever want to do this with me. Well, don't worry about it, because the fastest way for you to change your marriage is to start with yourself. I believe in that. In fact, you're the only person you can change in your marriage. You can't make your spouse change. But not to fear, because Next Level is offered as a buy one, get one free type of a model where you can join, and if your spouse wants to join, there's no additional charge. And if you want, you can share your other seat with a family member or a friend instead if you want to. You're probably wondering if this is risky. It's risking my time and my money. But we're setting up this program where you can cancel at any time. No strings attached. This is what one of our current members in Next Level, who's also part of our men's group, has said about the program.
So I just wanted to start off by saying, going into this, I didn't really know what to expect. And I would have never signed up for something like this. It was a stretch thing for me. I guess I'll say it that way, because this is just not something that I would do really quickly. But I've found it so amazing how everybody's story is different. Everybody has a unique story, yet I see myself in every single one of them. And it's like, I'm not exactly like that, but you know what? I hear what they're saying. And I get what they're saying. And I've learned things from everybody and having them share their story with me. So I'm so glad that I did this. And it's been really, really good. It's been a lot of growth for me personally. And for my wife, she was in coaching. As I mentioned at the beginning, she just started it as well. And I've seen so much growth in her. Her willingness to try things that she would have never before tried. And her willingness to identify breaks that would always go up for her, that she's like, okay, I can turn off that break. And an example of my growth is, so I approached her on something that I wanted to explore with a role play. And she initially said, yeah, we can try that role play. That sounds good. And then she came back to me later and was like, I don't think I'm comfortable with that role play. I don't want to do it. And I was kind of like, oh, great. And she wasn't very happy about it when she came back to me. She was like, I don't really like that you brought that even up. I'm not happy. And I was like, okay, this is the beginning of the end of this really good growth and happening here. But I thought to myself, you know what? Our learning taught me that I should treat my wife as the most adventurous sexual person that I've ever met, and just go back with, I'm going to continue to treat her that way. So I actually told her that. I'm like, I learned that I'm supposed to treat you as the most sexually adventurous person that I know. And it's completely fine that you don't want to do that role play. We'll take that off the table. And I'm going to still approach you as the most sexually adventurous person. And what would you like to do? And she's like, I never heard you say that to me before. She's like, before you would have got all moody and crabby, and I was really kind of nervous about how you would respond. And she's like, I like that. She's like, I see the growth. And so I felt good about myself.
And this is just one example of many men and women who are really applying themselves and growing in the Next Level program. So what do you get with the Next Level program? First of all, you get a weekly group coaching call, and this is a great forum for you to ask your questions. Secondly, you get a private podcast where you get to listen to other people getting coached. Now, we've changed their names, they're anonymous, and other identifying details, but their stories are real. You also get a private group chat where you can share ideas and bounce ideas off of other people. We also have a men's only and a women's only group, and you can be as anonymous as you like. If you're the type that's not comfortable jumping in on a weekly group coaching call, there's also a way for you to get coached anonymously through written coaching. We have a Ask a Coach form where you can ask your question and get written responses and get coached that way too. But wait, there's more. There's a lot of bonuses you get when you join Next Level. First of all, our monthly workshops. Each monthly workshop, we focus on an intimacy-related topic, and you get access to that. Plus, you get access to all the recordings of all the workshops that we have done in 2022, also 11 in total. So that's a lot of really great intimacy-related material that you get. You also get access to our mobile app called Next Level. So it helps you keep in touch with everything while you're on the go and makes it really easy to be a part of this program. You also get access to our Get Your Marriage On conference videos that we did 2 years in a row, packed with great information from amazing speakers. So you're probably wondering, how much does this cost? Coaching programs tend to get really pricey these days. A coaching program similar to this, where you get weekly coaching from a marriage expert, can run anywhere from a couple hundred to several $1,000s a month. Also, access to a private podcast can run anywhere up to $100 a year for that subscription. Also, having joined every workshop so far, that would be $220 right there, plus all the future workshops that we put on intimacy-related topics. Plus, opportunities to be coached privately can also be very expensive as well. We're offering all of this for just $690 a year or $69 a month. You can probably guess where I got that number from. This is a no-brainer investment if you're serious about taking your marriage and intimacy to the next level. Last of all, one purchase is good for 2 people. So you can join and your spouse can join at no additional charge. Or if your spouse doesn't want to join, you can give that account to a friend or a family member. So that I can give you the quality of care and attention, we're limiting this to 50 couples. But there's a small catch. You need to enroll by Sunday, January 8th. We're not going to leave this program open. We don't know when we'll open enrollment again, so that we can give every member the attention they need. To sign up, go to getyourmarriageon.com and click on Next Level from the menu. Life is a choose-your-own adventure. You're either an actor in your story or you're being acted upon. And it's really those that take action in their life that really take things to the next level. So I want to ask you if you're ready to take action, to take charge of your relationships, and to make this year different and better than any other year you've ever had. If you're still on the fence, we have a free webinar about Next Level on Wednesday, January 4th. The link to sign up for that webinar is in the show notes of this episode, and I encourage you to come and participate in that. Thank you for listening. I hope you make 2023 your best year ever in your marriage. I hope you work on your development and grow in your capacity to have an intimate and wonderful sexual relationship with your spouse. I hope you learn how to see your own blind spots and the patterns that kind of get in the way of you moving on to the next level. And I hope you have many opportunities to learn from other couples and how to, see yourself in other people's marriages and learn from them and how you can incorporate new things to make things great in your marriage. Have a happy and wonderful new year.
We hope that you enjoyed this episode of Get Your Marriage On. And if you did, we would love it if you would take a few seconds to give us a rating on iTunes and to share the show with your friends. They'll thank you for life. Once you've done that, you can head over to getyourmarriageon.com for more resources about today's topic and to download our amazing marriage apps. Now go get your marriage on.